Hello, BookTube. Made a big book haul today, so I thought I'd share it with you. Cold day, snow yesterday, a little bit of snow today, nothing much, but cold out. So we get hints of spring and then reminders that March is always a volatile weather month with the change of the seasons. So I did manage to go up and do a little bit of book hunting. Did really well with a real treasure at the end. Something I had never seen before. So very excited about that. But a good haul, good stuff. So I'm just going to randomly grab them here. This is On Chesil Beach by Ian McEwan. Pretty well-known book on BookTube, and not one I've read. I know about it, but I have not read it. I know it's about a young married couple and their honeymoon. So looking forward to that by a good author. The next one here is a series I absolutely love. And this is by Orson Scott Card, and this is Seventh Son, and it's the first book of the Tales of Alvin Maker. And these are great fantasy novels, retell in an American setting. What do they say here? Using the lore and folk magic of the men and women who helped settle a continent and the beliefs of the tribes who were here before them, Orson Scott Card is creating an alternate frontier America where folk magic works and has colored the entire history of the colonies. So really good stuff. I haven't read these in years. I still run into them occasionally, but glad to have it, and we'll definitely reread that. Then I couldn't resist this. I didn't get very many paperbacks, but this is Maeve Benchy, Aches and Pains, illustrated by Wendy Shea. And when you're my age, this is what you do for humor. So I'm looking forward to this. It's got a little like spot illustrations, and I imagine it can be great fun. So we'll find out, right? Short little read, but if it's something to make you chuckle, then that'll be worth it. The next thing I get here, I've read this author's story of Scotland, and I've read some of his Icelandic stuff, translations and all that. Magnus Magnusson, Keeping My Words, an anthology from cradle to grave. I tend to like this. Oh, here's the author. I tend to like this sort of stuff. He's collected quotes like in a commonplace book, and then put them together in subjects like youth, teenage, school, childhood, birth, love and courtship, sex, family and friends. Some of them can be funny. I looked through it a little bit and chuckled at the ones I saw, but some of them can be a little more poignant. And then another one here, really glad to find this. This is Neil Gaiman's Norse Mythology. I have read it, but I didn't own a copy. Little, the French flaps and all that. I've read it in a hardback copy. But this is fine. And he's basically retelling the Norse myths. I've got Magnus Magnusson and Neil Gaiman. Should remind me, we've got Sagalong 2022 coming up. This channel and many others will be participating. So keep an eye out for that. That's next month, or a few days from now, right? Then nonfiction here. I have never seen this before. Obviously, I know the writer, Isabel Allende, but this is her My Invented Country, a nostalgic journey through Chile. A short thing by a great writer, and I'm looking forward to reading it. And this one came with a bookmark. Little opening quote by Pablo Neruda. Isabel Allende's first memory of Chile is of a house she never knew, the large old house on Calle Cueto, where her mother was born and where her grandfather evoked so frequently that Isabel felt as if she had lived there. And it became the protagonist of her first novel, The House of Spirits. So I'm really looking forward to this. Sort of bracketed, I think, from what I was looking at, she wrote this in a reaction to 9/11. and the World Trade Center and all that. And looking at what it means to be, you know, memory, place, nostalgia, being an immigrant, you know, all that sort of thing. This next one is not in the greatest shape, but it's a Timms and Hudson book. And this is The Enemies of Rome, From Hannibal to Attila the Hun by Philip Matizak. I'm probably not saying that correctly, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing it properly. But it's just what it says it is. Nicely illustrated, and it's about Rome and her enemies through the years. So hopefully it'll survive a reading. We'll see. Then there's another one here that I don't have in my library, but I've read it and I've had it over the years and just give it away all the time. But this is a great book. The Team of Rivals, The Political Genius of Abraham Lincoln by Doris Kearns Goodwin. You see this on channels that are interested in history and especially American history quite often. A wonderful book. So back in my library, right where it belongs. Save this one over here for last. Then I've been building up my Wallace Stegner collection. This is actually a hardback to replace the paperback I have. This is Crossing to Safety, a novel by the award-winning author of Angle of Repose, Wallace Stegner, an American writer from the western part of the United States. I first read his, I don't know if they'll list it here. Well, let's list it in the front, make sure I get the title proper. Hopefully they will. No, because they're doing books in this series of repubs. He wrote a great book, The 100th Meridian or something like that, about, and I'll remember the minute I'm done with the video, John Wesley Powell and Grand Canyon and all that. But he wrote nonfiction and fiction, a great writer, and been building up a little bit of a library of this guy's stuff. And the second one I got here is The Spectator Bird, which was winner of the 1977 National Book Award. And it's about a guy who has no family from his past left and no children and in older life and cast adrift sort of thing. So there's a picture of Stegner. Had a big connection to Stanford, if I remember right. But yeah. Then another one I've read, don't have a copy of, and thrilled to have a copy of, and I love this novel. I read it when I was a bit younger. Yeah. This is Joseph Roth, and this is the Radetsky March. And a novel I really enjoyed. The Radetsky March can fairly claim to be one of the great novels of the last century. Its theme, beautifully articulated, is the end of an era. Roth's anthem for a vanished world has the intense, fleeting beauty of a sunset. So, if you haven't read that one, it's one to look into at least. Then, the Albany Novels. This is one of those quality paperback book club things. You can see it right there. They sometimes did these anthologies of a writer's work in inexpensive editions. This is William Kennedy, Legs, Billy Fallon's Greatest Game, and Ironweed, the Albany Novels. I have not read, I think I've read them all, but I have not read them in a long time. And I don't hear about them much anymore. Maybe it's just I haven't been listening. But then a collection of short stories, Later the Same Day by Grace Paley. And she lived in Vermont and worked in New York City. So she's, let's see, just a list of what the short stories are. When did this thing come out? This thing came out in 1985. So I probably have not read any of these short stories. So that could be fun. Another BookTube favorite that I've been picking up as I see them is Marilyn Robinson. This one's Home. I still don't have a copy of Gilead, but I'm piling up her stuff here. Let's see. Let's see. When did this come out? 2008. So I will give this. I'll probably pile up all of them and then give them a read. Science fiction. James P. Hogan, The Multiplex Man, one I have not read, so I'm looking forward to. This is Bantam Books, New York, 1992. See if they, born in London, 1941. And at the time of this book, he lived in Florida. I believe he's passed away now. Let's see where we're at here. This one I picked up. I knew the minute I put my hand on it, it was different. Then I checked it out, and I can see why. It's McSweeney's books. I just grabbed it for that because I don't know the author. Between Heaven and Here. And it sounded really interesting. Susan Strait. In August in Rio Seco, California, the ground is too hard to bury a body. But Glorietta Picard is dead. And across the canal, out in the orange groves, they'll gather shovels and pickaxes and soak the dirt until they can lay her coffin down. First, someone needs to find her son Victor, who memorizes SAT words to avoid the guys selling rock. And someone needs to tell her uncle Enrique, who will be one to hunt down her killer. And someone needs to brush out her perfect crown of hair and paint her cracked toenails. As the residents of this dry creek town prepare to bury their own, it becomes clear that Glorietta's life and death are deeply entangled with the dark history of the city and the untouchable beauty that finally killed her. Sounds interesting. Anybody knows this author? I haven't had a chance to look into her. Let me know. Then this one looked like fun. This is 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. And it's a feminist retelling of the Battle of Troy. All female characters. Looks fascinating. Looks like fun. So we have a list of characters. So Natalie Haynes, this book came out in, it's a Harper Collins book, 2021. So new to me. Saw it, couldn't resist the description. And we'll see. Then the next last one here, Iris Murdoch, The Good Apprentice. I have not read this. Let's see, this is Viking, First American Edition, 1986. So an Iris Murdoch novel, there she is. And one I haven't read, which is always fun. A little dirty, but I can clean that. No problem. And then the surprise find. I've never seen this before. This is a description of Egypt by Edward William Lane. I guess it languished at the publishers because of the cost of printing for well over a century. I'm going to take the dust jacket off here because I don't want to rip it up. Actually quite beautiful naked too, right there. It's notes and views of Egypt and Nubia made during the years 1825, 26, 27, 28, chiefly consisting of a series of descriptions and delineations of the monuments, scenery, etc. of those countries. The views, with few exceptions, made with the camera lucida, edited with an introduction by Jason Thompson, American University in Cairo Press. So the minute I saw this, I knew it was something special. Wasn't quite sure what, and not totally sure right now. Here, let me show you this. It's got, well, I'm going to do it without wrecking the book here. I'm going to do it without wrecking the book. Just loaded with images and maps and drawings. It's packed. So very excited about this. We'll find out how it is. My battery keeps going on this thing, so I better see if we can edit it and make this work. So not a bad book haul. I'm not going to do a Steve Pyramid. There's too many books. But hope all is well, and thank you, BookTube.